Hello, I'm Robert, and you're welcome here in my busy little shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, I'm working on a belt. This belt, I've already dyed this front part of it in what I refer to as dark mahogany. This belt is for Club Dora, and that's a person out of Minnesota. They have a firewood channel, and he won the belt at the Hoosier Firewood Hysteria. That is a fundraising event. They cut firewood that they sell throughout the year, and then that money is used at the Veterans Park there. And I know they put on a big event towards the end of the season, and that's where a lot of that money goes. But the person that won this, Club Dora, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in my description there if you're interested in it or not. But it's a different Dora than Dora the Explorer. There's no doubt about that. But he won the belt. I sent it there for a door prize. The belt he selected wasn't the right size. And I knew when I sent a belt there to use as a door prize, the chance that the belt's going to fit someone the exact size, probably fairly thin margins there, and it didn't. So I always make sure they know that if the belt doesn't fit, or they don't like the belt, or whatever the case may be, reach out to me. So I'm going to remake the belt in the proper size. They liked the color and design, but they wanted to get one that fit, and then they'll just send me the other belt back. That's actually the second time that belt's been to that event, and then I've gotten it back and remade a belt for somebody else. So anyway, let me get over here on the workbench, and I'll show you how I go about creating what I refer to as the double gunslinger. I appreciate you taking time to be with me in the shop today. Okay, the belt that I had sent was a 38, and this gentleman needs a 40. So it's not a lot different, but if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. So I cut a strap. I give myself a little bit extra trim room on here. I cut a strap to 52 inches long. I pulled down this last bit here where the bend over is going to be for the buckle. And I pulled that down to about 4.5 ounces. It's going to be lined. And I'll create that bend back's going to be at 3.5 inches. But I bent it here at 4 to give myself a little bit of room to trim this end piece. Now this belt has a pattern that's going to need to be laid out properly to be seen properly. And I like it to be centered on the center of the back. So on a 40, I've got that at the bend over. So 20 would be the center of that pattern. Right there is going to be the center. I got to remember to erase those. They will show later if you don't erase those. Now let me show you one of the things that I don't like about this Tandy set of patterns. This one here, if you look, it has a dotted line here, which is the center of this pattern. And in my mind, this is correct. When you put this on here and that's centered there, then you've got your diamonds here on both sides of the belt loops in the back. I don't want my belt loop to hit here and obscure that spot that's going on there. To me, these are like conchos, and I wouldn't want a concho dead center in the back. So when I bought this set, I really liked the fact that I could line it up in here and do that. Now this set here, obviously, they put that line on the center here, and that's going to make that first concho-like area dead center underneath the loop in the back, and I don't like that. If they just created a secondary mark here, then you could line up on that. So all I need to do is measure here. Let's see what we've got between these. We have 4 1/4 between those. So 2 1/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that mark 2 1/8 off of center. So I burned 2 inches. So 2 to 4 1/8 right there. Now I can take this pattern here and line up on that. I suppose I'm picking things apart, but I've gotten to where I know how I like the pattern to be, and I want to stay consistent with that. Now I will scribe around here. My outside stitches are going to be fairly close together. Let me make sure I'm going to get it in there. So what I'm going to do here, I wanted to create a little bit more of a buffer here. So I split the difference on this. This is, to me, when they put that on there, that's like your stitch line. Here's the outside. I've come down and I've split that halfway because these diamonds encroach too closely here. So let me see how this is going to work. There it is on that side. And if I do the same on this side here, did I get lined up on that mark? I did. Okay. Okay, that gives me an equal size between the diamonds and the loops, and gives me, I think, enough room here. It'll be tight here with my stitch line on the outside of that, but I can make that work. So now I just need to go down through here and do the exact same thing, lining up off of this last bump here. I was looking, I thought I'd bought one of these 1.25 inches, but I, for the life of me, can't find where it went. I was just going to use the 1.25 inches down the center of it instead of this set here from Tandy. Now, here where this fold over's at here, I don't want to go any further. I don't like that pattern to run into there. Let me show you here what that's going to look like. Line up on this guy again. And then I just take these diamonds and run them out like that. So my buckle will be mounted here with Chicago screws here and here. So I haven't encroached on that area. Now that I know how many patterns I have here, I have 1, 2, and then the center one, so I just need 2 on the other side as well. So now I've got 3 patterns, 1, 2, and 3. And then this is the center of the belt. I still have my center mark here. That's the center of the belt. So I need 3 going the other direction as well. I'm wondering if anybody else has ever had this problem. This is my Barry King mallet that I've been using for about 4 or 5 years. The leather finally dried out enough. I do oil it on occasion, but not all the time. And it dried out enough that the handle started to have a little slack in it. So I took the cap off, cut a little leather washer, and put it in there so I could tighten that back up again. So now I will start here. So yeah, I call it the double gunslinger because it has 2 rows of stitching around the belt. And it really adds a lot of time because basically it doubles the amount of stitching needed for like a classic belt. And also really, I guess really for just a regular gunslinger, because it wouldn't normally have the two out there all the way. When I use the pattern and make a regular gunslinger, and I think this is how a lot of people do it, but they don't, they bring this stitch line out here and just do that for the tip, and they don't sew back in here. But my regular pattern, I just end here at this last diamond. I don't continue on with it. But this is the double gunslinger. When I'm done, this belt will have a stainless steel buckle and nickel spots in the diamonds. When the person reached out to me that won the belt and told me that it wasn't the right size, could I help? You know, I'm not sure if they had gotten the message or not, but I always tell the organizer, but you know, they have a lot going on, but I tell them that I'll replace the belt with a size that fits if they'll just, you know, send the old belt to me. But it's pretty hard to donate a belt to an event like this and have it, you know, be the right size. Let me get this done out here on this tip. So what I'll do is I will create all these holes, and then I will do this inner stitching, which is obviously more decorative than anything. Once that's complete, I'll laminate this to the liner, and at that point I'll come back around, establish a stitch line on the outside here, and then hand stitch that again. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and seal this belt, just the front side, with Resin. I'll work it into all these holes because the thread I'm going to use is a lighter color thread, and I don't want to pick up a bunch of color. It'll still pick up some, so I end up getting more thread than I need, so that I'm cutting like 12 inches off each needle when I'm done stitching the belt here. But we'll be back here in just a little bit. So I've been working on this stitching here, creating this pattern. This pattern is only in the middle of it. The stitching along the edges will be the stitching that helps hold the layers together, even though I would say that the contact adhesive is strong enough to do it without stitching. But all of my belts, well, all of my custom belts are hand stitched. There's no machine work in any of them. But when I finished the last clip there, I was talking about putting Resin on here to protect it. I was doing it beforehand because I was using a contrasting color. Well, you can see it's not really a contrasting color. I mean, it is different than the background, but in my mind, I was thinking I was doing white. So this order form helped me today keep from making an error, and I've done that before, where I get ready for the next step and I maybe I stitch it and then I realize I had the wrong color. The order form is handy for a couple of reasons. One is when I'm working on a belt or whatever it is, I have that order form sitting out here on the counter. And my mother taught me how to cook, and she would always tell me to read the recipe all the way through before you ever start on it. And then as you get ready to do the next step, say that it's going to be you add the ingredients and then you put it on to boil for an hour. Go back through and reread all of those instructions to make sure that you didn't forget something or before you bake it. Well, in this case, after the resin had dried and before I got ready to stitch it, I was going to grab the thread and I picked it up and I looked at it and I could see here that I had written black as the color of stitching. So a lot of times I'm working on multiple projects at one time. It's easy to confuse those orders. So anyway, that order form helped save me a lot of headache, because if I'd stitch this all in, say, white, which is in my mind, I was trying to figure out if it was white or light gray, so I'm glad I went and looked. But if I had done that, I wouldn't unstitch it. I would go and create another belt and then stitch it properly. So when I get done stitching here, I need to layer up the 2 layers. So I'll be back with you here in just a moment. All right, so here's the pattern so far. This is the dark mahogany, and it was extra dark, the belt that was chosen. And I've got the black thread here in the center. Next, I need to laminate this to another layer of leather, the liner, before I create the rest of the stitching here. So this is the liner that I'll be using on this belt, and it's a natural colored liner, which is a little bit of a challenge in that if you're putting clear finish on here the way I do it with a sponge, you may transfer color to the back. And I know you can airbrush. I've got reasons why I don't like that method, and so I don't do that. But what I did was, before I got to this point, I've sealed this back as well. If I get any staining on it, I should be able to clean it off because it'll be on the face of this clear coat. But I'll be really careful not to pick up color to the back. When I have it sewed together, I'll actually put clear coat on this back first and then do the front. This edge will be the area where I'm potentially going to pick up color. So I'll hit that with a sponge line. This is on the buckle end where the fold back is for the buckle. It's not going to be real visible there, but I just get in the habit of doing it the same way on all of them. But like these here, I'll line these up with the stitch line here. If I left them together and down the center there, it will telegraph through, and you'll see it as the belt wears. You'll see where that thread is there. Okay. I do that to keep it stitched together so it doesn't move around on me when I'm burnishing this down. Okay, that's it for today. It's nearing the end for me, but I'm going to, I'll sand these edges here, and the next thing I need to do is establish, well, I'll cut these ends, but I need to establish my stitch line with my gauge here. And the way I'll do that is like this. And I'll check and make sure that I like the spacing there. I may tighten that up a little bit. And whatever I come up with, I'll check it on all the way around here to make sure I don't run into problems on any of these lobes, because they could all, well, they are all somewhat independently set. So I want to make sure that they fit good there. And I need to make sure I have nice parallel stitches here as well. And then what I'll do is I'll actually line up this stitch with that hole out there on that stitching iron, so that these stitches, at least through here, are parallel to each other and in line with each other this way. So probably overthinking it, but that's kind of my theme. I think some of you guys have heard me say that before. I have the liner laminated on here. I created the stitching holes along the outside, and now I'm completing the stitching. It takes a little bit of practice, but if you keep your stitching irons angled the same one after the other, you have a nice straight line on the inside, which is probably not the most important thing, but it becomes real obvious if you have a offsetting color like this liner is natural. So it's going to be more obvious there as a result of it. But I think the belt's coming out beautiful. When I finish the stitching, then I'll do my edge work, and then start installing hardware, and we'll be done with this before you know it. I appreciate you following along today. I think it's really a beautiful belt. So I've made, I think, really good progress here. I finished the stitching, did the edge work on it, and installed the double cap rivets here that I'm using as spots. And I think it really adds some class to this belt. So I'm going to finish up mounting this buckle. But I want to talk a little bit about the reason for the belt to start with was I donated it to the Hoosier Firewood Hysteria. There's a group of individuals there, and I mentioned it earlier, but they're there and they help support a veterans park there, an RV park, and they sell firewood. Well, Club Dora, was at the event, and the event was splitting firewood to for the campground to sell. And So I donated a belt to be used as a door prize for these people that gave up their time. And the gentleman that won this belt, he's got a YouTube channel. I'll put a link. I'll probably put it in the title as well as in the description for his channel. So go check it out. He's a good guy that donated time and a bunch of travel because he's in Minnesota. And this event was, 2 states away, to go there to help support it. And I think a lot of people go there because it's fun to hang out with like-minded people that you know, have the same interest of creating firewood and helping, you know, people throughout our communities. So I'm just finishing up here. This is a stainless steel buckle, and I'll get the Chicago screws here. That's what I prefer to use. I put clear fingernail polish on these, and that acts as a Loctite, and I like the applicator here. The little brush makes it really nice to do it. If you think you're going to be for sure replacing it, I've typically used like white glue on that, but these they set pretty tight, and you can get them undone, but you may damage the Chicago screw doing it. So at that last event, he ended up with the belt, but it wasn't quite the right size. So we're getting that taken care of. I'll get it in the mail probably at this point tomorrow. Headed to Minnesota. Used to travel up there quite a bit as a youth. Had a grandfather that lived up that direction, and we'd go up there to visit and do some fishing. And I got started in the firewood community a few years back. They've kind of adopted me, so I'm here to help support them in some of their endeavors. So donating this belt was just one of those endeavors. Let me get this on there right. So hopefully they'll have an event again next year, and I should have a belt there. This is the second year that I have donated a belt, and last year I remade the belt for that individual because he was the other way. He needed one smaller. And if you found my channel, you know, from the firewood community, I do appreciate the support there as well. So I'll finish creating the adjustment holes here. It's a size 40, so any belts that are 40 and larger, I typically, unless instructed otherwise, I'll typically put 7 adjustment holes. So I'll be back here in just a second, and we'll wrap up here and talk about the belt for just a second. Well, there we go. We'll take a close look at it here. I think the belt just came out beautiful. It's a durable belt too. This is 12 ounces. If you're not in the leather world, that's 12 ounces is 3/16 of leather. So that's a thick belt. This belt will not break. There's no filler in it, so it won't break at the holes like some of those belts that you buy do. But it's a beautiful belt. This is the Gunslinger pattern, and I refer to it as a double Gunslinger because of this double stitching all the way out here to the tip and down here as well. Well, there you go. I appreciate you following along. A special shout out to anybody that's part of the firewood community. I appreciate them as well. I probably get better support there than I do through, at least through YouTube creators on the Leathercraft side. Well, there you go. I appreciate you being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I hope you have a great day.